Look, there it is there. Breeds' Rock. Just on this side of the village. Beyond that, the Cairn Tocher. And where you're going to after this, Knockanail, is up on that big shoulder. See the shoulder of the mountain, see the windmills, wind turbines. That land just runs down from that last turbine, runs down to Knockanail tomb. And in there is is where I think we need to be looking for that battle site, Cam Erie.
Say that again.
The tradition in Slaughtneil was that was the battle site,
the great battle.
Cam Erie battle site. And
Do you believe it?
I actually do. I've looked at it. Look, I didn't for a long time, Thomas, until I looked at the alternatives,
Yes.
which have absolutely zero going.
Yes,
for
that's
them.
right.
Yeah.
The credentials are
So
dodgy.
and then I came back to that one.
Good man.
You know, so and now that I look at where the
And that's the origin of the name,
well,
isn't it?
yeah, and if you look where McLaughlin's and O'Neill's tend to be coming into conflict, there's a kind of a line across
this would
these
be
hills
all
here,
right,
right
aye.
across here, which is
On the
north of the
frontier.
mountain and south of the mountain.
And
which
that was
is
actually
a
put into
line.
law by the High King
Yeah.
to stop the fight.
So I'm happy that that's
Well, that's
anyway.
fantastic.
Yeah. So this site, Culnagrew, again we talked earlier about the Katy. The Katy is just behind Thomas here. That's the start. The road just runs along the green. See every green hill there?
Yes.
That's that road. Sort of the road, townland boundary seems to be around about there somewhere. The Katy is a long hill that runs way back down that country towards Dunglady.
Do you think the ancient highway is this way?
I actually think it's the one.
You see, you'd love to think of that as a boundary marker
I
on
think,
the road.
I think it's just here, running along the bog, heading that way from Kilray.
Aye, another ancient road.
And then across, you mean the one that
but
goes
not
that
the
way?
great highway from
Yeah.
the Iron Age onwards.
It's
that went
around
through
here, so
Swan.
I do think that, yeah. I do think that.
You don't think it's here?
I'm not exactly sure where, it's around about
It doesn't fit here, but I'd like to think it was here with this, the
think-
major marker on it.
Yeah. This marker, I don't know what's going on. I like to think it's when you look at some of the other ones, when they carve somebody's name into them, called Owen in the ancient script, you don't get that so much in Ulster, but you get the idea of what they're trying to
Well,
do.
one up and
There's one up at your big site up,
consider
yeah.
it now.
But what they're is that they're marking a spot. They're saying this is us. This is what's going on here. We're the people here. So you're generally writing a name of somebody who's a ruler or a hero or whatever, and a tribal name. Usually it doesn't be much more than that. So it's kind of a, and if you look at the one, even the one we looked at in the formal site up over Brachderg, Greencastle direction, again, Ahascrib off there, it's the same. Yeah, it's right beside Dunrua.
Yeah, it's a lovely.
Yeah.
lovely
In here, there seems to have been a hell of a lot of bronzes.
You can't may have rubbed it off there, mind you, but I did. You could have rubbed off the old there.
Could have, yeah. That's a good point.
I was looking around.
This Bronze Age burial all around this, supposedly in this field. There are two cairns that were mentioned in 1830-ish, around that time, that had been destroyed or were being destroyed at that time.
There was urns found, wasn't there?
Kists and urns found, and that's all bronze.
Burial urns.
Whether this is Bronze Age or comes at a later stage, I don't know.
Wasn't there supposed to be two other stones associated with
There's a legend. There was a story that was told at the back of the village, just as you walk down to the that wee water treatment site down to the back of the houses there, the street. In there, in the end of Collins's garden, I think it was meant to have been. You still see them. They're in the garden, they're wee small stones. And there had a legend that there was a man and a woman who had defiled the well. There's a well that's just on the other side of the laneway.
That was a serious thing.
And this is what had happened to them. They'd been turned to stone. So that's.
There's loads of folk tradition about people being disrespectful to wells. Terrible crime. The normal method of doing it was to pee in it. Quite often it's a woman's job, and it was regarded as absolutely beyond the pale, and would be punished for it. Because the people worship wells, even as Christians, they felt the well was.
A lot of stories about wells moving and things like that. Anyway, so the idea is, I think Dermot, it's also on Dermot's land, the well, or in Friel's land, some of his connection, and he's talking about maybe it started of getting that sort of cleaned up, that laneway down in there, so you can walk down it again.
Has it got a name? The well's got a name?
No, I don't think so.
I'm sure it had.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there's a lot of stuff going on around the village and here and around the rock and with the well and stuff that we kind of need to.
It's a great ridge marker, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can I interrupt here
Fire
now?
away.
You remember last week when we were up at the Tammany Rank and you saw the great megalithic monument? Well, a lot of what we call standing stones now are like the last stones left of a monument that been destroyed, like that. But we don't think this one is. We think it's in the class of standing stones. But that's the first thing you have to sort of eradicate when you're trying to interpret it. Is it the last remains of a megalithic with a much bigger site, you know? But this looks like a genuine standing stone. There's also confusion in the literature that there was a practice of putting stones up as cattle rubbing stones. The cattle come and relieve themselves on. But this is not one of these. It's
Too big.
yeah. But the cattle would have used that, which is very frustrating for us because when we excavate any of them, one of the reasons they're so hard to date is the whole context right has been destroyed by cattle for hundreds of years, you know, especially in wet weather, digging away all right.
The other thing that, and Thomas mentioned earlier, the idea of routes and roads, and the Farsis Bonus estate being over here and it being a famous pass. There's another battle site over there too, called Battle of Culnagrew, and there are two sites where there's two Culnagrew's, a couple of Culnagrew's in this general. There's one over in Tyrone somewhere again, but this is a much more likely site. But this is it here, this Culnagrew, and the town land. It's not actually Culnagrew town land is the interesting part.